I'm Joyce Hornady. You might say accuracy is my business. I make bullets.
You are listening to the Hornady Podcast.
Thanks for joining us and enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Hornady Podcast. I'm your host, Seth Swerczek, and today I've got marketeer Preston Lentfer across from the table. Preston, thanks for coming on the show.
Once again, I feel like I didn't have much of an option.
No option.
But this one will be pretty cool considering our time constraint and the fact that we needed a podcast. And now we're recording it.
Yes. So what the viewer and listener didn't see was the 45-minute scramble that started about 50 minutes ago of we need a podcast right this second. Schedule's aligned. We have an opening. Let's get one recorded because it's got to go live in a couple days. And we struck out on a lot of topics.
A couple of times. Yeah, and those will be good, and we'll still do them. But I'd like to say not everybody's as ambitious as we are.
Yeah.
Or their schedules just don't line up. But
so suffice it to say, we've got some good podcasts coming up in the hopper once we get them recorded. And this one, although shooting from the hip, is actually going to be really good. And this is a continuation of our Wildcat series. Now, we left off the Wildcat series on episode 180. We got to go back just a little bit to get there and to fill the listener in that might not be privy to that. Basically, we wanted to walk the user through how to wildcat something from cartridge and chamber selection, ordering the right reamer and getting those specs done, using a hydraulic form die to form brass, that whole process, and then we're going to culminate it all with our rifle builds. Your build is complete.
Mine's the only one of the three that is done. Now, you'll notice Ben Searing is not here.
No, he's not.
And that's because we didn't tell him about it because we needed a podcast. But that being said, once your rifle's built, once Ben's rifle's built, and you start playing around, we can compare some notes, and we'll have you guys on with your builds as well.
That's right. And then I think we should do a separate podcast. Viewers, listeners, let us know if you'd like to hear this, where we get maybe Mike Whitey Jensen involved, and we do a deep dive discussion on how he chambers barrels.
Yep.
He did a lot of chamber work for a lot of people here at the shop. Our entire bench rest team, he cuts all those barrels, cuts a lot of our accuracy barrels as well. Very, very gifted machinist, and he actually built a reamer holding fixture that he uses, and he can, between Ben and Whitey, kind of walk us through that process.
Yeah, I think that'd be way beneficial, but let us know if you'd like to see something like that. You'll probably get it regardless.
Yeah. So, Preston, this rifle, now we already know the cartridge, 257 Ackley improved. And
the old 257 Bob.
The old Bob improved.
As we like to call it.
Yep. So, the improved is a 257 Roberts improved with the traditional Ackley improvement. Has been around for a really long time. The second improved is because we went through and gave it the Hornady treatment, for lack of a better term, with the throat length and the throat and free bore diameter. We really like to control those to a certain spec, and that gives us the most chance for accuracy. And we've seen that time and time again, and you as the consumer have enjoyed that time and time again. When you buy a cartridge, you buy a firearm chambered in a cartridge that we designed, it has a really good chance of shooting well with factory ammo because of those dimensions.
Yeah, and I believe, don't quote me, but I think we have 190 thousandths of free bore in our chamber reamer. But yeah, I've had this chambered up for a little bit now. I've done some hand loading and some testing on it, which we'll dive into. But what do you want to start with, the rifle or the?
Let's start with the rifle and the 30,000 foot. Okay, it's 257 Ackley improved. Well, what is it for? Right? So you can do a lot with it, but what did you build yours for? And then walk us through. Let's start with that. What'd you build it for?
I kind of made it as a field rifle, right? Not like a backpacking rifle, but a field rifle. Something that I could go Nebraska deer hunting with, something that I could pound steel with and not get beat up all day long. But mine is kind of the more budget-minded build out of all three of ours. We kind of had a budget, then a little step up, and then
full-on custom.
No budget, right? So mine's more of the budget field rifle.
Okay, so budget field rifle. And when you throw in, you want to go hunting in Nebraska, that can mean a lot of things. It's a pretty sizable state. You've got hitting the sandhills on foot, chasing mule deer, chasing antelope, and then you've got the eastern style or even, central style where we're at, where there's much more timber, although Nebraska's not known for timber.
Where I walk out of the truck 100 to 400 yards and sit in my spot for the day.
Yeah, right. But you can do a lot of things in the state of Nebraska, and this rifle can really do them all. And that also equates to eastern plains of Wyoming, most of South Dakota. There's a lot of places where you can hunt in very similar fashion to what you're talking about for a lot of different animals.
Yep. And this is not my go-to elk cartridge, right? This is deer sized and down.
Yep. Okay. So that's what it was for. And you said you built yours, of the three, you built yours a little bit more budget minded. So let's talk about what this started life as when I'm talking about the action.
Okay. So I bought a Howa 1500 long action, just like a Hogue stock on it, the rubber overmolded with a 270 Winchester barrel on it.
Bought the whole rifle.
Bought the whole thing.
What'd you give for it? $4?
I can't remember. It was reasonable. I wouldn't be surprised if it was whole rifle under 500 retail. Yeah.
So you went out and just bought a factory rifle.
That's right.
Now you scoped that rifle up and you shot it.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah. Well,
no, I shouldn't say sucked like that. I grew up shooting a 270.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I would shoot it at a target, maybe once every
pie plate
3 years, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise I'm shooting it at a critter. So
recoil doesn't exist.
Recoil didn't matter to me at all. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm trying to actually dial it in and shoot a 10-shot group to see its capability or getting close to its capability, a 270, whatever you want. And guys, we don't hate a 270.
It's a great
right?
cartridge. Very capable.
Fond memories growing up of a 270. I've just moved past it. So if you still like the 270, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay? Knife hand. It's fine. But I've moved past it a little bit in my own personal life, and it recoils a lot for what it is, in my opinion.
I would agree. Yeah, it's kind of pretty sharp recoil, especially in that. I mean, that was an ultra light pencil barrel, lightweight stock,
thin barrel,
and it actually shot. If you bought that rifle off the shelf, it shot fine.
Yeah, I think it shot. I can't remember, and I have the target somewhere. I should look it up. I think it shot like 1.75 minutes for 10 shots.
Yeah,
so that's pretty capable Nebraska deer rifle.
Right. It speaks a lot to those Howa 1500s. Kind of you buy one of those off the shelf, they generally do pretty darn well. So you bought the entire rifle, and now you've got the task of stripping it apart. Now, in years past, you and I both have experience rebarreling Howas, and I think they used the exact opposite of anti-seize on the barrel threads years ago. They felt like they were cemented in place.
Mm-hmm.
Much different experience as of recently.
Yeah, so we've had an affinity for Howa rifles for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But you're indeed right about how tough those barrels can be to get off, especially back in the day.
Because were notorious.
The last two Howas that I've done, really not that bad whatsoever.
Didn't even have to put heat to it, if I remember right.
No, not at all. Actually, what we did is we have a square action wrench. How does that say? How should I say? It's made of bar stock,
mm-hmm.
and the clamping, piece has a circle shape to it.
A radius side.
So does the other side, but you can flip it around so that it's square. Now, a Howa 1500 has a square bottom.
Yep, flat bottom.
So I put
receiver.
the radius on top, flat on the bottom, positioned it in the barrel vise, got it clamped down tight, where I could put the action wrench vertically, and all it took was a little bit of even pressure with a towel.
Yeah, take the slack out of it.
Yeah, take the slack out of it, and one sharp blow with a dead blow. And
yep.
She was loose.
She was loose, yep. And those Howa receivers, years ago, there wasn't a lot of aftermarket support in the stock world.
Sure.
But now there is. And I'm a fan of the idea of a flat-bottomed receiver. For whatever reason, I'm not an engineer. I don't know anything, but I just have, it's flat. That's great. I can make two flat surfaces mate together rather than try to make 2 points on a circle squeezed tight, and you're reliant on how good your pillars are, or your bedding job, or whatever. So flat bottom receiver makes a lot of sense to me. So peel that 270 barrel off, Hogue overmold stock. Still got it?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so
No.
either.
But yesteryear, I would have kept that thing forever.
Yeah.
But as I get older and accumulate more things,
No room for it.
I know that I don't have room for it, and I won't. Yeah, you could have good intentions of keeping it for whatever reason, and then it'll just never get used.
So you got it stripped down to just the action, and the Howa, I think they call it the hacked HACT 2-stage. Not a bad trigger by any means, but you've got a bare action, you've got a trigger. What'd you do to it from there? Any truing? Did you change the trigger before you got the barrel fitted up? What'd you do?
No, you'll notice that it's not the Howa trigger on there right now anymore. And I had mentioned in the previous podcast that I was fine with it the way it was, 3.5 pounds. I tried a couple other Howa triggers that I had laying around on it, and they were all about the same. So no drastic improvement there. I've had some of those hacked, or however you want to say it, HACT triggers, the Howa ones, lighter than that before, like considerably lighter. I didn't have any of them laying around, evidently. So I did get it barreled, put it in the stock, did all that, and then I moved to, my mind just went blank right now. This is a Rifle Basics aftermarket Howa trigger. So I did lose the 3-position safety.
Oh.
That's gone.
Okay.
But I have, this thing's breaking at a pound.
Oh, okay.
So it is super light.
That's one of the things with the Howa receivers that I liked, and I cut my teeth as a air quote precision rifleman on one of their 2-stage triggers, and I really liked having that first stage where I was like, okay, that obviously you get to take up. Then you hit the wall, and I think I had my match rifle tuned up to like 2.5 pounds or so, and I got really good at shooting that trigger, and I did like that trigger, and I really like the 3-position safety as a hunter.
Sure.
When you can lock that bolt closed, it's those little things that make a difference, and that's one of those little things. When you lock the bolt closed, you don't have to worry about scraping it on your hip or on catching it on something and opening up your action.
Absolutely.
So
but I did lose it. But I gained a single-stage super light trigger.
Yeah.
The 22 Advanced Rifle Cartridge easily outperforms all other 22 caliber cartridges in its class, producing 22 250 performance in an AR-15 platform. The 22 ARC is engineered to take full advantage of the most aerodynamic 22 caliber bullets. This means tighter groups, increased accuracy, and an exceptional shooting experience. 22 Advanced Rifle Cartridge from Hornady.
So you've got the receiver stripped out. What did you go with for a barrel?
This is the custom rifle barrels. Austin Orgain down there in Oklahoma took over Hawk Hill. It's now custom rifle barrels.
Yep, CRV.
Over his equipment. And this is their Hunter Contour. Came long as you could see. But
27 inches.
Yeah, it's now 20 inches.
Okay, 20-inch Hunter Contour. So it's looking, for the listener out there, this would be a little bit smaller than your Remington Varmint Contour.
Smaller.
But substantially larger than a Sporter Contour.
Yeah. Bigger than a 3B, if you're familiar with that. That seems to be one that I know.
Yeah. It's like a Bartlett number 4, kind of.
Yeah.
Probably
750 at 24, I think.
Yep. So this one's probably
a little bit thicker.
There. And before we go on, we'll go on from there. Got it chambered, fitted, threaded at the muzzle, obviously wearing what has become almost really generic.
Yep, Thunder Beast Ultra 5 on the end. I've shot it with the Ultra 7 as well, but I have that on a different rifle that's a little bit shorter overall. So the 5-inch made a lot more sense on this one since it is a little bit longer due to the fact that it's a long action, and this is kind of a long stock here.
It is. Let's talk about the stock. So you've got the barreled action, you got the muzzle device, we talked about the trigger, you dropped it into a really good-looking stock.
Yep, this is a Stockies VG2 Carbon, and this is, we mentioned growing up, we didn't have a lot, or coming up, we didn't have a lot of options when it came to stocks, and this is a relatively new option for the Howa shooters. So this is carbon fiber. I'll probably get it wrong, but I believe this is like 26 ounces.
Okay, so
nice. It's super, super light.
Lightweight, and it's got great shape to it. The lines look good.
Yeah, and this is what's really cool is, you can kind of customize your finish. So if you order one of these,
Stocky's
drop
website.
a note into them or call them. And I said, I want about 80% coverage on my paint. Because a lot of times you'll see a carbon fiber stock and
You see a
looks
lot
like
of
they
carbon.
dabbed a sponge on there 3 times. But I wanted more coverage. So I kind of asked them to do 80% coverage on this one in some traditional camo colors. And I think it turned out fantastic.
It really did. And so, yeah, shout out to Stockies, one, for supporting the Howa with such a nice, lightweight, and practical stock. And then the ability to, tell us what you want. If you want a little bit more coverage, we can do that for you. But it's got those classic lines. And
the grip is what I love so much.
Well, that's where I was going. As I say classic, I don't mean like classic in the thought of sporter style. I mean classic in regard to precision hunting.
Sure.
Precision hunting rifles. You got like the Manners EH1 and the Macmillan A3 that really kind of started what that was the go-to stocks for long-range hunting rifles. And this has that same grip angle.
Yep. And what I love about it so much, it's kind of the first in the market with this grip angle at this weight.
Oh, sure.
Because you could get some with nice grips. I have my training PRS gun.
You do a lot of training.
Yeah, in 223 in the Bell & Carlson Target stock. And that's very vertical, but it weighs a lot.
4 pounds?
Yeah, it's very, very heavy. So this is the first time you're getting into a super light vertical grip stock in a Howa.
Well done. Well, it looks really good. I love the appearance. What do we do for bottom metal?
It's Howa. It says Howa.
Factory Howa bottom
Factory
metal.
hinged floor plate. In front of it, though, you'll see a little bit unique,
Yeah.
and maybe they're not well known or widespread, but I have them on several different rifles. You'll have to remind me on the name, though.
The Salmon River Solutions out of Idaho.
SRS,
Yep.
yes.
Ken and the crew over there are doing a great job.
So I have ARCA all the way here, and integrated into the front is a Picatinny rail.
Yep, you've got the best of both worlds. It's if you want to just throw that on a bag, you got a nice flat surface with that ARCA plate. You want to clamp it into a tripod, you can do that too. You want to run your traditional Picatinny bipod up front, easy peasy.
Yeah, and this is actually your bipod on the front right now. I like using a Harris when I'm kind of testing for groups.
Mm-hmm.
I love the rigidity of it for group shooting. It's probably not what it'll wear if I'm hunting. It'll probably have, I don't know, if I had to venture a guess, I'll probably have the Atlas on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it certainly could have a Skypod on it, because that's Picatinny or Arca rail.
Right.
Or the Gunworks bipod. I've grown pretty fond of that one too.
I just
for
use
hunting.
that on an antelope hunt. 10 out of 10. If you're looking for a bipod for your precision hunting rifle, that Gunworks Picatinny bipod is phenomenal.
If this was a super lightweight mountain gun, probably have the Backlands bipod on it. But right now I love shooting for groups with a Harris.
Yep, nothing
Love it.
wrong with that. So you've got a really handsome rifle put together, but you can't shoot it if you can't aim it. So what do we got on top there? Rings and
Open
scope.
sights, iron sights. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I love putting tallies on Howas on my hunting rifles.
One piece.
One piece, just because when I put my cheek right here, the scope is just right there on my eye. So these are tally mediums, if I'm not mistaken, 30 millimeter tube, and then on top I've got a VX5 loopholed.
Okay.
This one's a little bit unique. I'm not saying it's special or anything, or they made it special for me, but
You don't see a lot of these.
you
on
don't see a VX5 with mill turrets.
Yep.
And this has mill turrets. I think it's more for like maybe their European
I think it's the European
market.
market because the mill is also a centimeter,
Sure.
10
sure.
click scope.
So it's still the second focal plane, but it's only a 15 power, so it pretty much just lives at 15 power for
Yeah.
me. And then
Well, and
all
for,
the subtensions in there work.
for a field rifle, 3 to 15, you can do so much with that.
Oh,
When you're
so
trying to
versatile.
just bang some steel, hunt coyotes, shoot a deer, take it antelope hunting, something like that. You've got all the adjustment you really ever need. Plus, these are super lightweight.
Yep. And then the gun was a little bit heavy. The barrel's a little bit heavier than, what we're probably kind of getting used to, a proof carbon fiber Sendero at this point,
Yep.
So this is a little bit heavier than that, and the scope really helped the overall weight of the gun. I believe it comes in, I cannot remember off the top of my head. I think it's like 11.3 pounds.
Okay.
Well, not-
Bipod, suppressor, scope.
That's everything.
But that really is a good weight as a field rifle. A whole lot lighter than that, and it's going to buck a little bit. Even if it doesn't recoil that much, it's going to be jumpy.
Sure.
Spot and impact is going to be hard. And then much heavier, it becomes more arduous to actually want to take it out
Right.
hunting. So
It's a balance.
it's a
Everything
balance.
is.
And you've balanced it really well. It looks good. And I want you to talk briefly about why it looks the way it looks, because there's probably a good chunk of our viewers that are wondering, why is that barrel just bead blasted? It doesn't match anything. The receiver's matte black. What's going on here? What's the look that you were going for?
Yeah, and I should have known you were going to bring this up because honestly, I'm maybe a little bit embarrassed about it now, but there is a reason behind it.
I think it's a great reason, and when you're young and coming up in anything, like, you're influential and you remember certain things, and there's a desire to duplicate some of that.
Yeah. So I wanted this rifle to look like you took a blank action and you knew a really good gunsmith and you sent it off to him and you wanted it rebarreled. Because a lot of times, like when we were up-and-comers, we'd ask our boss, like, what's your favorite custom rifle? And he'd bring it in and it just looked like this.
Yeah, it just
like
looks like a factory rifle.
Cerakoting really wasn't a thing back then.
Mhm.
And it was kind of in the transition where people stopped, like, rust bluing things because it's so arduous, you know? So at the time, stainless barrels were becoming more and more popular over chrome moly, and people just leave their barrels.
Yeah, blast them and leave it. And that was a sign. Like, you'd see, he'd bring in like a Remington 700 that was a 243, shot it out. Now it's a 25 284 or something like that. And it would just be the original wood stock, maybe, glass bedded. You could see some glass in there and some shavings out of the barrel channel, and then a steel barrel on his blued receiver.
Yep.
And it just had that cool.
And then when we started in PRS, there'd be some people that had their barrels Cerakoted or whatever, but a lot of them just had
steel
raw barrels. Now you'll see that all the time now.
Yep.
But when we first started, it was like kind of half and half.
Yep. So I just wanted to bring that up because it does add to the look, and it adds, also to the bottom line. You purchased a rifle that retails for $500 or less. Spent some money on a good barrel. You got a really good stock that is also really affordable. The world of aftermarket stocks.
Oh, yeah.
The Stockies does a great job.
A lot of times they run clearance sales too.
Yep.
You might find some blems or whatever. I really have a tough time finding blems normally.
Mm-hmm.
When people say they're having a blem sale, I'm like, okay, I guess it could be this right here. And you're like, okay,
yeah, works
great.
for me.
Yeah.
But you use the factory bottom metal. You really did this, I want to say, almost a shoestring budget, and it turned out really well. It looks nice. It's going to perform well in the field this fall, and we're coming up on some hunting seasons.
We are.
So if a Nebraska whitetail were to be laid down with this thing in the fall, or maybe a bushy-tailed coyote.
Well, I have a different rifle I'd like to see shoot coyotes with, but if I'm out deer hunting and a coyote walks out, every hunt turns into a coyote hunt.
The Hornady Trek Light Lockbox XXL. Constructed of an advanced impact-resistant polycarbonate featuring dual 4-digit TSA locks, the Trek Light Lockbox offers heavy-duty protection at a third of the weight of steel. The included 1,500-pound rated security cable with patented cable connector maximizes cargo space for up to 2 full-sized handguns. The Trek Light Lockbox XXL from Hornady Security.
This is unrelated, but it's related to this rabbit hole real quick. I was just on an antelope hunt, and Kelly won't listen to this, but I told Kelly this antelope hunting's really getting in the way of shooting coyotes.
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
So it looks good. It's got just the right lines. It's comfortable to shoot. The optic is really paired well. Obviously, you got the suppressor. You kept the whole thing short. Now, how does this baby perform? Because that is where the rubber meets the road. So is it performing? What have you tried? Let's walk through some of that.
We can talk about performance first, and then I'd like to talk about some challenges in this Wildcat.
And then I'd also like to talk about
the
stack of data.
Sure. we'll talk about my stuff first, then we'll talk about our stuff later because that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Okay. So
I've tried a couple different powders. The first powder I tried, just because I looked in my drawer and I saw some, I was like, well, that ought to work. Was H4350. You ever heard of it?
yeah, I think it's a fad, and then probably in the next 45 to 90 years, it'll just blow over. People won't use it anymore.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, but this is a hard one, and maybe we'll just get through these right here. I shot a 10-shot group with H4350 at a certain amount of grains with a 134 grain Hornady ELD match.
Yep.
Seeded 30 thousandths off the lands.
Beautiful.
Had a modified case made.
Yep.
I just walked out in the tool room and asked the talented machinist if he could drill this and tap this with the tap that I gave him, and he did. So I know that it's 30 thousandths off the lands because of that reason. And for 10 shots on 15 power, which if I was shooting for groups, if I really wanted to test this thing out, I'd have at least 24 zoomies.
Yeah, you probably put a scope on there just to establish the accuracy and then swap back over.
However, when I shot this 10-shot group at 0.9 inches at 100 yards, so there's hardly any gaps in between, the bullet holes.
Yep.
I was like, it's fine. This barrel's a shooter.
Yep.
So mean radius of 0.3. My average missed distance at 100 yards could be 0.3 inches away from my aim point.
Wow.
Pretty okay with that.
Yeah. Out of the gate, if that's your first, I don't know, I'll just, and we obtain charge weights by what wildcatters do, which is unfortunately make some really, really good but modest initial assessments of volume plus existing data, what we think is the right burn rate window, reference quick load where applicable, and it spits out some pretty good numbers.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit, but just to show you how modest this is, my average velocity for these 10 shots was only 27.05.
Okay.
Now, extrapolate this to a 24-inch barrel,
28.
you could guesstimate 2,800 feet per second, which is not standing on it,
No.
for a 257 Roberts improved.
No, certainly not.
And then I tried Reloader 26. Ever heard of it?
Where did you get it?
Can't tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have a lot of it left that I'd like to use for this.
Yeah.
But through my research, I had found that Reloader 26 was probably going to give me max velocity, which it typically just does that.
Yeah.
Where applicable.
Reloader 26 gives you normal velocity, and then right when you get to 60, 58,000 pounds of pressure, I don't know if it's got to be the progressivity. Obviously, it's a chemistry thing, but it does really good at the top end for velocity.
I'm not there yet, though.
Okay.
Because max chart, and I must be missing a page, but I took it up to a certain number of grains, which in my research should have been the max, and it would have gave me, X velocity, extrapolated from quick load, and I was only getting about 2,700 feet per second once again. And so as I'm doing this, I'm looking at primers, I'm looking at case heads. I have zero signs of pressure whatsoever. So I have not found pressure yet, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you found a load that shoots really well.
Because this is the next step up of Reloader 26. This is loaded. This is still yet to be shot. And if it shoots 2750, I'll probably just say that's a load. I could use that anytime, right?
Yeah, throw a 128 LDX on there, take it hunting.
I may do a little bit more experimenting, but so this was a range of a grain and a half worth of shooting. I loaded 3, and 2.
In that vein, you're loading 3, increasing charge weight by half a grain, 3, half a grain. You're not looking for accuracy. You're looking for velocity and signs of pressure.
Yeah. Yep, and hadn't found any yet. But this particular group and variation of, powder gave me 0.79 inches at 100 yards.
So you shot a grain and a half spread in an 11-shot group sub-MOA.
Yep.
Wow.
And a mean radius of 0.2.
So obviously good chamber design. You improved. Great match bullets. Obviously that helps. And that CRB barrel.
But we found that forever, right? Remember back in the day when we would test the Satterley test?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it's like, well, I just covered 3 grains of powder here, and I shot it all into an inch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to dive into nodes here, but I'm not so sure they exist.
Yeah. Well, as Jeff Seward said, they do exist. Your ability to change them, though, different story.
Yeah. So speaking of the data with this is a tough one, okay? Because this is not just, hey, let's improve a 257 Roberts and use traditional bullets that have been used in it forever.
Right.
Right? Because we're using long, high BC, need a faster twist rate. This is a 7.5 twist barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Need a faster twist rate than you would have in a 257 Roberts shooting a 117 SST.
Right.
So not only am I changing the charge weight, there's historically not a lot of data out there for these heavier bullets yet. Or
Okay.
they may never be.
Right.
You know, in a traditional 257 Roberts case.
Exactly. So that is a little bit of a hurdle.
It is a bit of a hurdle.
You know, we talked a lot about this in our technical service days. You get somebody on the phone who is wildcatting, and they want something published and they want something written down that they can point to, and there are instances where that doesn't exist. And it's kind of like building your own house. Like, you built it, like that's your house. You're building it, and when you're in the world of wildcats where there is nothing existing, you have to use your head. You have to be modest and work up cautiously, and go forward accordingly.
Yep. But a lot of times we'll do stuff where, back in the day, there's at least a comparable bullet weight.
Sure.
Maybe you're using something wildly different, but at least there's a bullet weight that you can attribute to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a different shape, but it's the same weight. This one is like,
not even close.
I think the last data that we had published for a 257 Roberts AI went to 120.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to shove 14 more grain of a bullet down the tube with this
Which
thing.
is
So
a long
that's a
bullet.
big difference.
It is indeed.
So I'll keep playing. I haven't found pressure yet. I don't know that I want to.
What other propellants are you going to? Because you got 4350 on the fast end, Reeler 26 on the slow end. There's a lot of powders in the middle. What are you thinking?
I checked my stash for H4831. I was going to try that, and I didn't have a lot of it. But I was down at our local gun shop. I was talking to John. I said, hey, looks like you got some powders. Do you have any Stayball HD? Of which, my research indicated that would probably be okay. He had some, so I bought a pound of it, and that'll probably be next to try.
Okay.
Because I'm satisfied right now.
I gave you some 4831 shortcut.
You did?
Yes, indeed.
I'll have to find it.
It was like almost a full pounder.
When?
Man, I've
The other day when I was looking for it?
Yes.
Oh, I'll have to try it.
Okay. Find the latest shirts, hats, hoodies, and accessories that you see here on the podcast and much more at HornadyGear.com.
But we do have a mess of brass at this point that has been fireformed. I'm still waiting on like an actual full-length size die. So far, I've just been neck sizing, but maybe we want to talk about how we got that fireformed brass.
So we did a small bit of hydraulic forming, right? You did a wonderful video on it. It's
thank you.
Great process. But to speed things up a bit, you went into our retired barrel crate. We crate these things up and we send them off.
Actually just a barrel of barrels.
It's a barrel of barrels that we send off for recycling when a barrel's shot out from our accuracy lab.
Yep.
So we had an accuracy barrel. Could have been a proof, could have been a Bartline, could have been an HS, could have been a custom rifle barrel. Those are the four main ones we use in our accuracy lab. Found one from a 25-06.
I believe it's 25-06.
With a 10 twist. So, lopped the chamber off. Now we're short. Threaded it for a TL3.
Of which
a Zermatt
everybody knows.
TL3.
We run a lot of TL3 barrels around here.
And gave it to our main man, Devin, on the CNC. And he sent that
bloop,
reamer
bleep.
home. Yeah, bleep, bloop, bleep. Hit the green button. There we go. So we have a inch 230 solid, no contour, 1 in 10 twist with our 257 AII chamber in it. We threaded that onto one of my TL3s. Now we have a barreled action that we can clamp into the V block and fireform brass.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. Now, we took a bunch of factory blemished ammo. So dings, dents, scratches, oil stains, etc. Perfectly safe and shootable and functional, just not pretty enough to be packaged into our first runs. So we took a bunch of those cosmetic blims and we were fireforming them. And we thought,
maybe we should record this.
well, let's just record it.
Yeah.
So this is
This is Superformance 117 SST, a flat base SST.
Yep. So this is factory 257 Roberts cosmetic blims in a barrel that had previously reached its service life.
Retirement.
Yep. So 1,000 rounds or so from the accuracy lab. Pulled it out of retirement, chambered it. The first 20 shots on this barrel.
No break. This is just 20 straight shots.
20 straight shots, as fast as we could get them under the extractor and into the chamber. Pounded a group of 0.84 inches extreme spread at 100 yards and a mean radius of 0.21.
It's pretty good.
So that's factory ammo being fireformed. So that brass is fireforming to that chamber and getting that kind of accuracy. And proof that the brass is doing a whole lot of moving is when you look at the extreme spread of velocity,
Sure.
which was over 100 feet per second. You're asking that brass to move a whole lot, and it's not going to seal up the same. But the accuracy at 100 yards, pounded in there at 0.84 extreme spread with a mean radius of 0.21.
I would take that for a PRS gun.
That's phenomenal. So what we did after that first test is we did that test 10 more times. We did 11 20-shot groups. And of those groups, they all averaged, take them all, 20-shot groups, and average them together, it shot 1.010 at 100 yards. It shot slightly less than a minute of angle, extreme spread.
Crap. If you took the one time where we thought it was getting really fouled out,
It was.
it would have been well under MOA.
Well, here, no, that's not it. I have it right here because we wrote it down.
Yeah, at one point we had done multiple 20-shot groups, and we're like, it's just going to keep going.
The barrel was like literally steaming, and it shot 1.65 inches.
Then we said, well, we should clean it.
So I cleaned it. The clean and cold bore group, 0.88 inches, with a mean radius of 0.26. I mean, it flat
Just
hammered.
came right back.
So that's pretty cool that you can fireform ammo and still have amazing accuracy. Because a legitimate sub-MOA 20-shot group, back to back to back to back times 11, there's only one group in here bigger than one MOA, and that was that one. The rest were either right at MOA or 0.7 to 0.8.
Yeah.
Mean radius, basically 0.2 to 0.3. And that's a hefty amount of data to show the true performance of that ammo in that rifle system. And then one thing happened, and it was like, this is a perfect training tool to why your groups are too small and your groups are still too small are so important. So I shot 220 rounds of this stuff, documented it all, had 6 rounds left to shoot. So barrel's cold, went down to shoot the 6 shots, and I was just going to fire them off. And I thought, I'll just turn this accuracy fixture on. It's no big deal. I'm already shooting in here. I'll just turn it on and capture it. So I shot a 6-shot group. This 6-shot group had an extreme spread of 0.25 inches at 100 yards, quarter minute, with a mean radius of 0.12. Now, for the viewers, that is 6 shots
It looks
into
like 3
bullet holes.
Yeah.
It is the classic clover weave. It pounded those 6 shots into a quarter minute. Now, here's the important takeaway. I have 220 rounds of data that say this rifle is going to shoot between 0.7 and 1 MOA.
No.
With a mean radius
it's a
of
quarter-minute gun.
Uh-huh. So, if you...
We use sarcasm sometimes.
Yeah. It's thick enough you can taste it. If you were chasing the node or adjusted your powder charge by half a grain or moved your seating depth by 0.005 of an inch and then bam, I got my 6-shot quarter-minute group. I found it. No, you didn't. You shot a really, really good 6-shot group. Not going to take that away from you.
And random distribution
But
made it quarter minute this time.
But if you looked at this 220-shot collection, you would see that we know exactly how this ammo performs. We have a 220 shot sample size to look at. And don't be fooled by that one 6-shot group, that one 5-shot group, even that one 10-shot group. This could not have worked out any better. And I was excited to share that on this podcast for a couple reasons. You know, it shows the validity to your groups are too small. But also, man, that factory ammo really hammers.
Yeah, that was really cool to see. Because it's been a while since I've like hunted or used an SST, and I'm like,
I just use an SST.
That's pretty good. I'm not scared of it.
Yeah. So that was just neat, and that's how we fireformed a ton of brass. Now we know the end user, you're not going to have that ability, where we could not have cared less about that barrel, so we just beat rounds on it. You would never do that to your actual rifle, and that's where that hydraulic form die really shines. You keep the rounds off the barrel. You're not burning up powder. You're not wasting a firing on your brass or a 50-cent bullet. All you're doing is wrapping that thing with a hammer and spilling a little bit of water.
Yeah, or maybe don't spill at all.
Well, you're going to have some.
Unless you're surgical about it.
Yeah, which I am not.
But yeah, that's a great example of why you would use a hydraulic form die, because you don't want to do that to your actual good barrel.
No.
Where we beat the crap out of it and really tested its capabilities, and it's pretty awesome.
It is.
For a retired barrel to fire form to a new chamber and shoot that well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has been phenomenal. So, Preston, you said you've got, Nebraska deer season coming up. Hopefully you see a coyote out there. Any other things you're going to do to the rifle, or is this as good as it gets?
It's probably it. I may contact Rifle Basics and up the trigger weight a little bit. It's pretty light right now. For hunting, for group shooting, it's fantastic. But yeah, I'm very, very pleased with it. I hope I can. Last year I shot 2 respectable deer during rifle season on the same day. And I didn't plan to do that, right?
Uh-huh.
But I thought both times were a giant one that I never ended up getting. And to clean 2 deer like simultaneously, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I'm telling myself this year it's got to be that giant for me to pull the trigger.
Okay. Well, I hope you see him.
Or squeeze it, whatever.
Yeah. Well, breathe on it at this rate.
Yeah. Might want to increase the trigger pull weight a little bit.
Now, I see the sling swivel. You sticking sling swivel, or you going to flush cup it?
I'll probably just carry it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's eastern Nebraska rifle hunting. So.
Well, I just meant you're going to do other stuff with the gun, and for swapping a sling on and off, if you were, let's say we're out in our old stomping grounds calling coyotes out in western Nebraska.
I don't know. There's a good amount of material in that forend. I just looked, so probably add 2 flush cups to the left side or to the bottom, and probably go that route.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think that'd be a good upgrade. But
the anti-swivel flush cups.
Yep. Yeah, that's key. Make sure you order those ones.
Yeah, because they do have ones that are an entire swivel, and they'll just keep swiveling. So keep that in mind if you're ordering them. Get the anti-swivel flush cups.
Yep.
Look at that.
One last look.
That looks like a rocket ship.
It really does. Looks like the Apollo space shuttle. Super long. I love the steep shoulder, long neck. It looks good. It looks the part. I'm excited to get mine chambered. Just seeing this rifle and seeing how much fun you've had. Generally, just playing around with it. That's the part I think is really fun about wildcatting. You just get to tinker around a little bit.
I haven't felt this nervous about my reloads in a long time. It's real fun.
Awesome. Well, Preston, great rifle build. I'm going to get mine chambered promptly. We'll see how long it takes.
Yeah, and then
Ben.
you'll have my mountain of data to go off of.
That's true.
Cheater.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, is there anything else, 257 AII or our Wildcat series, that you want to leave the listener with?
There's more to come. Hope you look forward to it, and we'll get more coming. I know it's been a while since we've
Takes
done
time.
this. Following up after this episode, you'll see a bunch of new products podcasts. That's what we've been working on. That's why it takes so long to get this type of stuff out. But you got to do the regular job too.
Yeah, you got to do the actual job.
Yeah.
I was in Wyoming and conversing with a couple guys in the hotel lobby. And they probably didn't want to hear it, but it was just not lamenting, but they had complimented the podcast. I was like, we appreciate that because, man, it is very much shooting from the hip a lot of the times where we're just frantically running around like our hair's on fire. And then, we have to record a podcast. So,
what do you do?
What do? You do them. That's what you do, and we enjoy doing it.
And we appreciate y'all appreciating it because, it is a lot of work.
Yep.
And so you guys watching and listening, it is appreciated, and the nice comments are appreciated. You know what? The mean ones are great too.
Yeah, they help too.
Just helps the algorithm.
Yep. I think this is where we would insert a typical like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, hit that bell.
Smash the like button.
Yeah.
And then click the bell. All right. This is Devolving.
Yep.
Preston, thanks a lot.
You bet.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning into this episode all about Preston's 257 Ackley Improved. This is our latest installment of How to Wildcat. Preston was the first one to get a rifle built, and it really turned out to be a shooter. We appreciate you listening. We'll catch you on the next one.